Have you ever been feeling exhausted, drained, disconnected? Like no matter how much you rest, something deeper is weighting you down. What if your burnout isn't from overwork, but from ancestral wounds carried within your soul? Burnout isn't just about being tired. It is a spiritual misalignment, energy blocks passed down through generations, unresolved trauma that lingers in our DNA, the weight of our ancestors. Struggles can manifest as exhaustion, anxiety, and feeling of being lost. Shamanic healing offers a powerful path to restore your energy by connecting with the wisdom of your ancestors, releasing their unhealed wounds, and reclaiming your spiritual vitality. You can break free from the cycle of burnouts. So how exactly did I got introduced to these type of challenges? Actually, I just made a very quick reel or short that I post here on my channel that's really briefly touch on the subject, like how I came out of high school, went into college, wanted to prove my worth through accomplishments, starting businesses, and actually I was kind of like reliving a part that was stored within my soul. And then really I noticed the stress and the anxiety and the chronic fatigue, the burnout that I was experiencing because I wasn't really connected with my own spiritual energy and vitality. I was like disconnected from source energy. And moving into shamanism and soul retrieval and ancestral healing, I discovered where these patterns came from. Of course, I was also kind of running away from my ancestral roots here where I was born and how I grew up and where my ancestral lineage of course really came from. I was running away from that as well, which also caused a further disconnect. I felt lost, but feeling lost is also the process of where you are letting go of old identifications and then you're creating space for something new to fill up. Check out the video that I made about breaking down the ego and how the ego can really be filled with higher light consciousness. And even living abroad in England, which played a massive, very important role in my spiritual awakening journey and going into shamanism and all of these beautiful things, coming back here to my so-called ancestral lands here in the province of Zeeland, which of course played a very important role in our history, in commerce, trades, maritime history, where we had the headquarters basically of the Dutch West Indian Company and where my ancestors were involved in that as well. So there's lots of trauma stored within that kind of energy, within the lands, within the history, within the web of life, the web of weird. And that's also for us the invitation to connect more with the energies of our ancestors, not only for healing but also for development, especially when we had like a masculine line which was very connected to commerce, trades, business and colonization, for example. Of course there were patterns of power, control, domination, manipulation, where we had to take power away from someone. And now we feel somewhat we are missing the energy of source spirit that can feel very, very draining. So how does it manifest? It manifests in being chaotic in the minds, getting diagnosed with things like ADD, ADHD, for example, which is of course ancestral development and healing disassociation. Another thing is of course because of the chaos that we have in the mind, in the spirit, our emotions all over the place every day. It's like we're going through constant emotional roller coasters. Of course we don't really know what exactly it is that we want for ourselves and what we feel we actually want. Do I want what I feel and do I feel what I want, for example? Or it is also because of that we feel somewhat we are dependent on someone else because we feel we lack the vitality and the energy to create and to build, although we have the intellectual knowledge and the drive to build and create something for ourselves. But our emotions are all over the place. We struggle that base foundation within ourselves, and therefore we can feel maybe low levels of self-esteem or a lack of stability, and the anxiety is manifesting itself through financial struggles, constantly dealing with injustice. Okay, you feel something is wrong with you, so you go and look for solutions. You go and look for solutions, let's say in the regulated mainstream healthcare systems, and they find a way to abuse your misfortune. And what they do, they say, sorry, we can't help you, but here's a bill, 800 euros, for example, 1,000 euros. You feel the injustice, and which is causing and triggering more frustration, more anger, more feelings of disempowerment, which is causing you to further feel drained and stressed and anxious, which is of course influencing your creative abilities. Now, this is kind of like one example of the many that goes around. One is like manifesting itself through our career path and financial struggles. Another way in our well-being and our wellness and vitality, both on the physical level, the mental, emotional and spiritual level. Another thing can be through relationships. Something is manifesting through relationships that you need to work out. Maybe signs of codependency, for example, or toxic relationships, because there's always something of an exchange in a relationship. So this is just a few examples of what it is that we could up against. So shamanic healing offers a powerful path to restore your energy by connecting with the wisdom of your ancestors, releasing their unhealed wounds and reclaiming your spiritual vitality. You can break free from the cycle of burnout. So what is it that we can do? Number one, for example, in my rune readings and shamanic healing sessions, I can help you to access the wisdom of the runes, reconnect with your ancestral lineage and clear energetic blocks. Okay, so this process includes ancestral rune readings, understanding inherent patterns, shamanic journeys, converting the energy of the runes into a deep shamanic healing journey, traveling through the spirit realm to meet your guides. Another thing is energy healing and rituals, releasing stagnant energy that is stored within the energy body and restore balance. So I've been dedicating myself through this process, and I've experienced already many profound shifts, relief from exhaustion, renewed purpose and a deep sense of peace. Because I stayed connected and engaged to my own process and journey, I felt lighter, like if a burden I didn't even know I was carrying had lifted. My burnout was disappearing and finally felt aligned with my true self. So if you do feel the calling to further explore this path, of course you can go and sign up to my newsletter and see what a rune reading and session can do with you. Of course you can just go through the reading itself, but you can also take things further and use these insights from the runes, the energy from the runes, and convert that into a deep healing journey. Okay, so just go to shamanicwellness.com and really further see, of course, how this can work for you. And of course, really, it's also dedicating ourselves to the path of shamanism, healing, spiritual development, reconnecting with the practices and the rituals from our ancestors, practiced in paganism, for example, especially if we want to reconnect with our European roots, because let's face it, Europe is in a pretty heavy space at the moment, and we are definitely not quite there yet. So that's why we must further and deeper connect with our spiritual practices in order not to get carried away with everything that's currently going on and that we can feel at so many different levels, financially, economic, through politics and all of it. So that's why the invitation for you here right now. So hope this was helpful. If you want to share any of your experiences, of course, please let me know. Simply drop a comment below, like, subscribe. Also feel free to share these videos if you feel like someone could find insights from it as well. Alright, so I look forward to see you all in my next videos, and of course to connect with you very, very soon. Alright, take care for now.